Hey everyone, my name is Ryan Murakami. I top 32 the remote to YCS, finishing second in Swiss with Gren Maju. I think this deck is pretty good. The deck's fairly easy to play. You don't have to think too much, and none of your games are going to time. You either win real fast or lose real fast. So I like that part about the deck. But let's get into it. So I play three border. If you see this going first, usually win. Just shuts down so many decks. Three Gizmic. It just pumps up your Gren. And that's a good floater to block attacks and pop stuff. Uh, I played two shifter and one nib. Since this is a control deck, you can't really play like Ash, Veiler, those 1/4 hand traps. You kind of like blow out hand traps, so opted to main these. And then for starters, you have Desires, Extravagance, Duality. If you win the roll and go first and see like any of these nine or a border, you're pretty much gonna win that game. I think it just puts you in a good spot. One of my favorite things to do is I call low combo. You summon border, then desires, so they can't ash you, and then your opponent has a dead ash in their hand for the rest of the game. So I thought it was pretty cool. Two Necro Valley shuts down a lot of decks. Just I decided to make one Super Poly. Enforcer is a pretty big problem, and against PKs is pretty good. I think one of my matches, game one, the guy had three Darks on board, so I super polyed all three of them for that big Predoplant guy, and it was pretty much a blowout win. Three Judgment, three Strikes, just don't want to let your opponent play. Two Compulse. Usually you don't let your opponent get Enforcer out, but if your opponent does get Enforcer out, you have a kind of like a little out for it, even though you end up trading like losing two or three cards. If you're up a lot and they summon Enforcer and you have Compulse for it, it's not that bad because you're still up a lot of cards, and usually, hopefully, you're winning the game at that point. For Floods, only B1, two Warning, two Punishment. I think this card's pretty good, just easy spot removal. And then for the one ofs order macro, yeah, if you go first, open these. The game's pretty much over in your favor. And that's it for the main deck. Moving on the side, uh, two nib, shifter. Yeah, just more like good blowout going second cards, hand traps. Usually, besides Sword Soul, if you nib your opponent, the turn usually, or if you shift your opponent, their turn usually ends. And then nib is just really good against a lot of decks. One Kaiju for Enforcer, two Token Collector. Sword Soul is a really big issue with this deck. If they open Baron and Blackout, you usually can't win. So going second, you just want to see like something to stop their combo. Two Super Poly, Duster, and Evenly. Just more stuff against Sword Soul. Like I said, if they open that, the Baron Blackout combo, just really hard to win. Only B1, Metaverse. Huge Revolution's over. This is a really good clean Enforcer out because they just activate it, then you just banish Enforcer and pretty much solves that problem. And if your opponent has Lightning Storm or Duster, it stops that too. And then just for like random back row decks like Alter Guys, Eldritch, that sort of things, two Storm Duster. And going into the extra deck, one Wind Pegasus. It's just a punishment target, and if your opponent has Winda, sometimes you can't out it, so you can just punishment the Winda, send this. And if they kill your border or something, you shuffle the Winda back. For the super poly targets, do the Predaplant guy, Starving Venom, Disenforcer stuff. This is the guy that requires three darks, and if you get him off, he negates summon from the extra deck, so you pretty much win if you get him off that point. Uh, three Natis, just to send off punishment and get a free pop. Mud Dragon just comes up randomly. Fossil Knight, Dragon Master, two Nib, and I played this Phoenix just because sometimes a lot of decks are playing Mystic, not a lot of decks, but some decks play Mystic Mine, and then if they mine you and you have two guys on board, sometimes you just link into Phoenix and warning it just so you get the Mystic Mine off the board. And it doesn't come up during tournament, but sometimes it comes up, so it's good to have the option. Um, yeah, that's pretty much the whole deck. I think the deck's pretty good. It's really easy to play. You don't have to think too much when playing it, and it feels like when you play this deck, your opponent's kind of like has to try to beat you more than you beating your opponent. So I really like the aspect of this deck. Uh, and it's okay going second, especially with the only B1. I only won two die rolls the whole tournament, and I finished X1, so I think it's still a pretty good deck overall. Um, I did lose in top trade 2 to Sword Soul. It went to game 3, but I just couldn't break his board, and then he eventually just beat me. I want to shout out the Discord I was in, the Vegas Discord. All my friends made the rounds very fun, interesting between rounds, and I just had a really good time through my first remote duel experience. And yep, that's basically the whole deck, and thanks for watching.